What's going on, everybody? This is Benjamin Bach. I bring you another F122 video. As you can see on screen right now, this is another featured event video. Now, the setup screen flashed pretty quickly, but you can probably see that the wings were a 3440. Now, other than that, this setup is just your typical time trial setup. So everything else is the same. Go into time trial, Zandvoort, wet, and it is exactly the same, except the wings are 3440 as opposed to what they are in the time trial setup, just because as you'll see if you did play this game or if you just watch this video, it is almost impossible to catch up to the AI in a straight line. Now, I did lower it quite a bit, and even then I think I got down to like 36, and it was still really difficult to catch up to the AI in a straight line. But at that point, with 36 wings, it's impossible for at least me to keep up with the AI. So I had to raise it back up again to 3440. And you're going to have to rely on the AI making mistakes. Like you saw there, Hamilton wiggling quite a few times going into those last few corners, which gave us an opportunity to get on throttle and then overtake him. But other than that, you're on full wets, it is raining really hard, no overtake on, and your straight line speed is absolute trash. I really don't like how Cody's programs the AI here. Instead of like programming a difficult AI to play against, they just give them OP straight line speed, and anybody that's played this game knows that they will just turn in on you whenever you try to dive down the inside. Now, we did luck out here. I did make a few dives and they didn't turn in on me, but we are in a wet race, and I feel like on the full wets, like the AI is just super easy, because a few months ago there was a wet featured event at Imola on the inters, and they were way more difficult on the inters at Imola than they are on the full wets here. And with that featured event, I could barely beat it at like 98 difficulty. Whereas here, it's at 105. I actually didn't realize it was a featured event until today. Went into it and then didn't realize it was a wet featured event, so I just kept the difficulty at 105. And then first few runs, I managed to overtake Hamilton and Perez pretty easily, so I just decided to leave it at 105 difficulty. And as you can see here, Verstappen started off like 4 or 5 seconds ahead of us, and it didn't take me long to catch up to him anyway. And by lap 67, we're already on his 6 here, under a second behind him. There's no DRS, but it's still nice to be under a second behind. And yeah, he's just pulling away in the straight line, but we managed to catch up in the corners here. So you can probably lower the wings a little bit more, but for me, I couldn't really control the car much any lower than 3440. And the straight line speed that you get back for lowering the wings didn't seem like much of an upgrade for me. So just put the wings back to 3440, and it seemed like it worked for me. And I just relied on the AI making mistakes. As you can see, Hamilton, Perez, and Verstappen, they wiggle through some of these corners here. They will put themselves off a little bit. Should allow you to get on traction and overtake them with battery. And Zandvoort in the dry is almost impossible to harvest battery, but as you can see here, we're still at 100% battery. I totally forgot that I even had overtake on, just because we were so close to Verstappen, and I didn't want to get on overtake too early and spin out, because I had played this quite a few times before and spun out after overtaking Verstappen. So I didn't want to keep on playing this as he squirms again through turn 1. Didn't want to keep on playing this, so I just decided to drive a little bit more conservatively, and I think I actually ended the featured event with like 50% battery left over. So that's a whole bunch of points to my score that I missed out on. Yeah, look at this, right out of the carousel. I thought I had a decent exit, but he's still pulling away. I know I'm not using overtake here, but I really hope that Cody's makes the AI better in F123, just because with them turning in on you when you're diving in, and then this OP straight line speed that they use to make it artificially difficult, you can drive as good as you want through corners, but for some reason they just get better traction, and then they have super ERS or super speed or something like that, and it's just really tough to race them at all tracks, even in the dry. Like Bahrain, when you get on that start-finish straight, it doesn't matter how much you lower your wings, the AI is still so much faster than you, and it's just kind of annoying at times because I can keep up with them in the corners, as you see here. We do have to. We don't want to go. I didn't want to go flat out too early because I had spun out a few times before going flat out, so I had to wait a little bit to get on throttle to go flat out, and then we did end up making this dive down the inside and got out in front of Verstappen. I was surprised. 105 difficulty. It didn't seem too tough. So for those of you that haven't played this yet, if you do plan on playing it, I would raise that difficulty a little bit. And if you have played it and beaten it already, you know, go back and raise it a little bit, because I think it's a lot easier than it looks. I know the rain and full wets makes it a little bit intimidating, but I think you can probably go back and raise the difficulty a little bit and do well here. So I'm not going to make you watch the rest of this. We are just pulling away from Verstappen at this point. So we will just skip on to the last lap here. And at this point, we've already gapped Verstappen by 4.5 seconds, which is actually, I think, what the gap was from you to Verstappen when this started. Maybe a little bit higher, maybe like closer to 5 seconds. So yeah, the AI on full wets doesn't seem to be super difficult, or maybe it's just this track. The AI seems to vary like greatly from track to track. 105 at Silverstone is completely different than 105 at like Bahrain, or for me anyways. It seems like Bahrain should be a little bit easier at 105, but it's still kind of impossible for me to beat it at 105 difficulty. But anyway, guys, that's it for this weekly event, or this featured event. It was really fun. I don't generally enjoy driving and racing in the rain, but this one was actually pretty fun. Way more fun than the one at Imola, in which I couldn't beat it at 98 difficulty. But yeah, there you go, guys. Hopefully you can pick up something to help you guys in your own runs. If you think I've earned it, please feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Remember to eat your bok choy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, I don't want it to go on super long, but I think we ended up finishing ranking like 66th on the leaderboards when this was all done. So yeah, that's how I did.